What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Down and Dirty review here on Action Industries. My name is Ben Bateman, talking to you guys today about The Mandalorian Episode 2, The Child. Once again, guys, if you're watching this and you've come across this, we are huge movie fans on Action Industries. We are movie critics. We do all movie things related, but we are not Star Wars aficionados. Big fans, have seen all the movies, love talking about it. But this is not the droids you're looking for, if that's what you've come here for. However, I will give you my spoiler-free thoughts on Mandalorian, because I do love it. Episode 2 drops. I think the release schedule's been a little weird. It definitely has... I think they can, because they're Disney and it's Mandalorian. They can kind of do what they want with it, but it definitely feels like we should have a clearer idea of what time the episodes drop. You know, the first one dropped a day early. This one, I didn't know if it was going to be the 3 a.m. thing. I ended up watching it relatively early this morning, thinking it through. So we I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but this is a shorter episode. We're a little bit more focused on a few of the characters introduced in the first episode. A couple of the people, that you are looking forward to seeing more of, wondering about, absent from this one. So definitely felt like a little bit more of a siloed episode. This is a quick story. Some stuff you see in this episode is fun. I think it's nice to see that there are sort of throwbacks and references to pieces of Star Wars history that you don't have to be an expert to know of, right? So in this episode, we see some Jawas. We see the big rolling fortress. And the big rolling fortress and the Jawas, we saw that in A New Hope, right? That's a thing from the very first Star Wars movie. So if you're somebody who's a casual Star Wars fan, that's going to be a piece of lore you recognize, which I think is pretty cool, and that's a smart decision on their part. I continue to really, really enjoy the sort of like workhorse attitude they throw behind the Mandalorian. I think it's one of the cooler parts of the character. He feels like he's not afraid to get his hands dirty. He's not too cool for school or always the smartest guy in the room. He feels like a real person who's like working a job. He's a bounty hunter in the galaxy, and that's what he's doing. And so far, I really, really like that. So in this episode, he has to kind of go on an adventure and try to acquire something and get into a little bit of a fight to get it. And the fight is great. And of course, there is a twist in there that I'm not going to let you guys know what it is here, but the twist is great. And so far, there's been a couple of them. This particular one was great, and you start to see some of the relationship that I think this show is going to be this season is going to be focused on developing, that I really, really like as a result of this twist. And so, do you get excited about that? Check that out if you guys have seen it already. Maybe you like that as well. He seems to get his ass kicked and roughed up a lot, which is pretty interesting and pretty funny. It makes me wonder how his armor stays clean, how his outfit, he seems to constantly put it back together. But once again, Nick Nolte was great in this episode. What does he say? I have spoken. His voice is great. He's just great to have Nolte involved. That guy, what an awesome back end to his career. It's almost just like the sound of his voice at this point is the most significant and relevant thing about Nick Nolte, and people just like really, really want to use that. I think the design of this episode and just the design of the show in general is something that we can really give a lot of credit to Jon Favreau for. I think the vision to make this show look the way that it looks, the kind of story he's telling, and the fact that it doesn't feel huge and sweeping and bright and colorful and rainbowed like like the prequels felt in a lot of cases, and even in some cases you get with these sequels that we're getting now. This feels very, very, very nuts and bolts. It's sandy. You are seeing sort of references to other like characters and other maybe tribes and races in the Star Wars world that maybe you recognize from older episodes, older installments, and you have to kind of wonder who they are, who they're related to. My other big question, and I read an article about this week, is The Mandalorian, and the likelihood that The Mandalorian is or is not Boba Fett, which is not something that is a spoiler. It's just, obviously, this character is most famous for looking very similar to a character named Boba Fett, similar to a character named Jango Fett. And so I think that people are wondering, it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and is this character Boba Fett? I don't know. I'm curious about that. I'm paying close attention now as I watch to figure that out. So I really enjoyed this episode. I think 30 minutes is a little short for something as prestige as this format. I don't think these episodes should be 30 minutes. I think we're not going to be able to tell enough story if that's the case. I'd much prefer 45, but at this point, I will take what I can get. I very much enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts below, guys. Did you like episode 2 of The Mandalorian? I loved it. Subscribe, comment, hit that little bell so you guys know when we go live. Andrew and I are going to go in live today at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. So if you watch this and you want to hear some more involved thoughts, go tune into that stream. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. It's Action Industries. Bye.